Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here. Hope you watched the previous video, part 1 of the series of I am who I say I am and not who you want me to be. So as I said, I am laying the ground for the rest of the series to come. And I'm glad I got to lay the bed on that story of that random woman that I listened to on the podcast. And, and then I just gave some snippets of, my circle of friends in general and things they experience, because people tend to be like, or limit this to me because it's obviously my story that I want to tell eventually. And so as I tell the story, I want you to grasp the story really for what it is. And the fact that this is not because the story is actually going to be about my relationship with my mother, or lack of relationship. And so I want to get into it. And as I get into it, I want you to know and understand that this is not a bashing game, right? Although it would have to look like it, because obviously most of the things that I'm going to say are not that great, are not positive. And that is why I want to actually make a point before I start the meat of the story, because truly for me, it is seriously not about bashing my mother, because I simply can't. You get what I'm saying? This is my mother. And of course, I wish that, we had a better relationship, but we don't. That is a fact. So, I have to accept that one and move on as well. But, remember, this is my story, because she also has her story, right? As much as my story is valid, I'm sure her story is also valid from her perspective, right? It is my perspective. A perspective is drawn, conclusions are drawn from my filter, my environment, my, the way I look at life, the environment, basically. Okay, so, and, so let me start by saying that I love my mother. Okay, so there's a difference, right? Because sometimes you love someone, just like it can happen with your spouse, it can happen with friendship, it can happen with children, that you love them, but you don't like them. Okay, there is that thing. And, of course, it's so important to, I don't know which one comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? But what I do know, there's a difference. So what I do know is that I love my mother. I cannot vouch that I can say unequivocally, I probably don't like her. There, I said it. Okay, but I love her. I don't know what that means, but I'm saying it. Okay. Because why? First of all, let me tell you, there's many great aspects of my mother. Obviously, look at me. I am her, right? Okay, so not that I'm saying she's great or great aspects of her because I'm great. No, I'm merely saying she couldn't be all that bad because here I am. You see, because if I had to accept that she's just all bad, then I would have to accept that I'm all bad. You get what I'm saying? So I understand that, and quite frankly, she truly is just not all bad. It's just that, we I still can't work it out, but the two of us just don't see eye to eye, whatever that is. But I mean, I'll get into the nitty gritty, but before I go there, I just want to make it clear, even if maybe she ever get to see this video, and for her to know, and you to know, that I'm grateful for being alive. She was the vehicle of me coming into this earth, and I do feel and believe that I have a role to play in this world, in the universe. I have a role to play. And so, and also there's so much about me that I inherited from my mother. First of all, my mother is a clever woman. Okay, she is intelligent. That is one thing about her. And she's a very strong-minded person. I mean, she raised 3 children on her own. I was an only child for, I think, 15 years. So most of my life, really. My brother and my sister came, as I say, I was 15 years old when my little brother came. And so, she was a single mother, and, she did her thing. She built her house. I mean, nothing could stop this woman. I mean, she's a business-minded person, and that is where I get my work ethic, because from a young age I worked at home, because I did not have your typical childhood, because my mother was in business, so I had to be there helping. So I actually did not have the time to be out in the street and playing with other kids, because I had to be there behind the counter. She ran a shebeen. It was very successful, and she ran like a food takeaways, and she was doing hair, and I did all of that. And I'm very grateful. Um, you know, every time I would narrate my childhood to anyone, I've never, ever, ever, ever said to anyone that it was not a drawback for me. Literally, I am not that person. I'm not going to be that one that would say, I had this horrible childhood, whatever, whatever. No, I didn't. I'm actually very grateful that obviously, the time that was happening, obviously, I suppose at some level, as a child, I was resentful, because of you see other children, playing. I mean, my friends could, do things and, go places and whatever, but, I couldn't just like do those things because I had to work around the schedule of, I have to get up, do clean, stock the fridge, the people are coming to drop, the whatever, stock, and, all those things. I have to take care of all those nitty-gritties. Okay, so I'm saying in those moments, I was young. I mean, then of course maybe I felt like, oh no, I can't go and play and whatever. But as I grew older, I understood immediately that what a blessing that was for me, because I really think that I escaped a lot of things because of that, So yes, I mean, I'm just putting it out there that because actually, my mother and I, we just don't have that kind of a relationship where we talk about things. So maybe she does not even know that, how I feel about my childhood. I even tell people now that I had a pretty good childhood. And that is credited to not just my mother, but my entire family. Like I said, my mother was a single mother. And, but, I never felt a lack in terms of material, and the fact that I did not have a father, because, my uncles were strong male presence who were very much there, and so, they played the father role. Okay, so I never had, excuse me, hang-ups about not having a physical father figure. Okay, obviously, the clever people in the world who always want to make everything a problem, they would try to convince people that, oh no, that would have played such a role in your life, no, played no role. Okay, because some father figures are not even worth the breath they breathe. Let me tell you that. And some children have suffered, having their fathers in their lives. And sometimes it is for the best that they actually just disappear. Because, do you know what I mean? Like, there are people who live in households where there is a mother and a father. It does not necessarily mean it's the best situation, because you get these fathers who are there, but they are useless and they are just a hindrance, and they actually are just making this woman's life miserable. And if this father was not there, this mother would be doing so much better. But now this mother has to baby this father, and now she doesn't have time for her children. Okay, so I literally always felt that, you know, I'm good. I'm good, you know? No hang ups about my father. Let me just take a detour because now I remember the story. I remember I should have been, because I was already working at the time. So I must have been about, because I was working for British Airways, I was about 1920. Say, yeah. Yeah, call it that. It's irrelevant, but something triggered me as I'm telling the story. So now remember, I told you I've never met my father. I don't know him. I do know though that there was a moment that he came to our house one day. But my mother never said anything, but you know, it's just like my intuition. And I know as I stand here that it was him. But my mother never said anything. But like, I did not ask anything. I mean, I wouldn't ask because, as I say, my mother and I never had that kind of an open two-way relationship, you know. So, but I know, and I can tell you that I've seen him in the flesh. So, but that was earlier on, before this time that I want to tell you the story. So one day, I was already working, so these people came to our house, and so anyway, they were talking to my mother, blah blah blah, and then they left. And then when they left, so my mother then, you know, called me to say, oh, this person that was here, you know who they are? I'm like, no. Oh, it is, was it the brother? Or it must have been, I can't remember. I mean, this was like 25 years ago. Okay. So I think it was it the brother or the sister that came of my father? So, you know, he or she came there. So I said, no, I don't know. So my mother tells me, no, you know, they come to tell me that so and so passed away, which is my father. So I'm like, yeah, and so she's like, oh no, I think that, you know, we're gonna have to go to the funeral. I said, no, I don't have to. I don't know the nigger. I don't know the nigger. So she was like, oh, yeah, you know, it is the culture and the culture. I said, listen, this culture is not going to dictate to me to spend my money to go to the Transkei to bury this nigger who didn't give a shit about me. So no, I'll pass. So she was like, okay, no, I understand, but you know, we're gonna have to go. So, you know, she will pay for the trip, but you know, I have to go. So I was like, okay, if that is the case, then we'll go for the jolly ride. I'll go for the jolly ride, but you know, that is just not gonna be me. So, you know, as I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking, yeah, I've actually I've actually been this way all my life. But what is strange today, I am still like this. But, when I say these things to my family, then they come at me, and, today is going to be something like, oh, you're saying these things because you think you all that, and whatever things they say, the nasty things they say about me, when I try to tell them, this is me, this is what I will accept, this is what I will not accept. Okay. So you see, because they're not attuned to that level of conversation, and that level of openness, and that level of integrity. So, the minute you kind of voice out, your thoughts, and, your boundaries, so, everyone kind of like, oh, yeah. Yeah, they say quite nasty things nowadays, to me, because now it it will not be because it's just who Tembisa is, because she's actually always been like that. No, no, no. Today it's going to be something like, yeah, she thinks she's better. Yeah, hey, yo, imali yamgezisa, andiyazi ke imali ephi. But anyway, this is the things they say, by the way. This is the things they say. But we move, because I'm not going to be held hostage by nobody. Okay. So back to the story, to the real story, because I was actually trying to say something nice, which is real and true. So, as I was saying, I lived with my mom, not quite, because I actually moved around. You know how it was with our families those days. Like, I spent a lot of time with my aunt in the Eastern Cape. I spent time with my aunt here in Cape Town. And, that was for me great. I loved my life. I love being there. Even I tell my aunts today, like, I always pay homage and tell them, like, I remember, when I lived in your home. And I always, make a point of being like, it was the best time of my life, and, and I would always say to my aunt, oh, I remember, I would be like, wow, I can't believe you did that. I can't believe, you would at any given time have like 5 of us in your home and your children, and you would do it so seamlessly and so effortlessly. And we ate what we wanted to eat. And now, if you know my aunt, like, even today, she's like that girl who shops at Woolworths. Then already, she shopped at Woolworths. And remember, there were like, she had what, 4 children? And there were 3, like, she had 7 children in the house. You can imagine, right? 7 children in the house. And she shopped at Woolworths. And we ate, today, me, I go to Woolworths and I'm like, ooh, no, I'm not going to pay for this. And then I'm thinking, unbelievable. So I always make a point of telling her, and basically to make her feel good and her to know that I acknowledge you. I acknowledge what hard work you did and how you gave so freely and graciously, and and I appreciate it. Okay, I appreciate it. I remember today, because you always remember those childhood memories. When I pass through toiletries and I see Nivea, because she always buy Nivea for us, And, you know, at any given time, we would have a variety of cereals to choose from. Those days, times were hard for people, but we lived a good life. I mean, we could choose Cocoa Pops, Rice Krispies, Strawberry Pops, what, Tasty Wheat. I still love Tasty Wheat today because of that beautiful memory that is still engraved in my mind at my aunt's house, Tasty Wheat. And Malta Bella and, all those oats, and, we had a good life. And I lived also with my aunt in the Eastern Cape. We first lived in Lovedale. I was in standard sub B, and then standard 2. I went to Bishop Primary School. And, I had a nice life. So why am I saying this? Is that I want to acknowledge that I had a good upbringing, okay? It is not, that I'm going to be saying the things that I'm saying. It is not out of resentment for, I don't have, kind of translated childhood trauma. Of course I'm sure if I sat down with a psychologist, they would say, oh yeah, but this behavior now, is because of whatever. And that is true, whatever. But I'm just saying on a high level, in general, I don't, see myself as being on the back foot or something went wrong in my life. No, I had a good life. I mean, today I pay homage to my mother because of, the inheritance of my sense of the music that I listen to, which I'm passing down to my children. I mean, you will be surprised when we sit and listen to music. They love this old music, and it's because of I heard it, I play it for them, and so and I tell them always. I said, that is one thing I got from my mother, which I'm very proud about. So and as I said, my uncles, beautiful, strong men. I say, we have like the best men in my family. Like they are truly outstanding, outstanding in the sense of everything they have modeled to us, that you take care of your children, because my uncles are just those people with integrity who takes care of their children. I don't know of any situations where my uncles don't take responsibility for their children. No, this is what we've been modeled. We were taught that. So that is the premise that I come out of, and this is what was modeled to me, and this is what makes me who I am today. And having said that, it doesn't mean that there is not negative stories that happens in that very same family. And when I do tell that story, I want you to have the background of this story, because it is not about hate. No, there is not hate, not in my heart. I don't harbor hate. However, what is the truth for me is the truth. And this is the thing that makes me unpopular, in my family, is that I will speak the truth, whether it sounds what to you, it's not my problem, okay? Because it is what it is. And so, generally people don't like it. And especially when you deal with that generation, they are like, you're a child and so da 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 da. So let me close this video because we're getting to 30 minutes and I promised it's gonna be 30 minutes. Thank you. Please subscribe, please like, please share the video, and thank you. Have a fabulous day.